Hi, I'm Lucy Reed. I'm a family barrister and I'm the author of The Family Court Without a Lawyer, a handbook for litigants in person, which has just been republished. Here it is. You'll see that I'm not really very used to making YouTube videos by myself, so this is not going to be very polished. I thought I would make a short film telling you a little bit about the second edition of the book so you can decide whether or not it might be something that's useful for you. I first wrote the book in 2011 and it's needed quite a lot of amendment to get it up to date for 2014. It's quite a bit thicker, I don't know if you can see, than the first edition. There's a lot more in it. There's been a lot of changes in the world of family law since 2011 when I first wrote the book, and a lot of change particularly in April 2014, and the second edition takes into account all of those changes that came into place in April this year. The book is meant to guide you around how the law is structured and how the court process works. It's not legal advice. It isn't meant to be legal advice. I don't give legal advice on a case until I know the facts of it. The book can't help you work out how to apply the law to the facts of your particular case, but it can give you a rough idea of how things might work. Hopefully put you in a better position than you would be if you had no information. So it might help you if I tell you some of the things I've expanded on for the second edition. You might be somebody that's got the first edition and you don't know whether or not it's worth purchasing the second edition. Certainly a lot of what's in the first edition is likely to be out of date now. Not everything, but quite a lot of it. So I've added in changes to the Children Act, which came into force in April this year. Residence and contact arrangements were replaced with something called child arrangements orders. There are other changes to the law about families, things like same-sex marriage, which have come into play since I wrote the book in 2011. And I've also explained the changes to rules and court procedures that have been implemented since 2011. There's a range of information in the book about when legal aid might be available and what the alternatives might be if you aren't eligible for legal aid. And in particular, since 2011, there have been quite massive cuts to the scope of legal aid in disputes between parents about children and actually in disputes about finances on divorce. Broadly speaking, unless you're a victim of domestic violence or you're a parent who is involved in court proceedings to try to protect a child from child abuse, and unless you've got a particular category of evidence, you're not going to be eligible for legal aid. And the book tells you all about that and gives you some options for what other ways you might find support if you don't qualify for legal aid. There's a lot more information in the book now about alternatives to court, so things like mediation, arbitration, other ways to settle your disputes without having to go to court. It's not suitable for everybody, but they're things to think about before you go to court. I hope the book takes you through things in a logical sequence, starting with the general structure of the courts, how they operate, general guidance for attending court and how to manage your own case and your paperwork, and how to prepare for hearings, but then moving on to the law in each particular area and telling you a little bit about how it works in practice. The book is also supplemented by some videos about attending court, which are available on this YouTube channel that you've probably found this video on. So that's a summary of the book, really. I hope it's useful for you. I would welcome any feedback about what's good, what's not so good, what might be added to the book for next time round. And best of luck.